fast, they say it's the dream, but the silence feels louder than it seems. Applications sent like ships in the dark. No replies, no spark, no start. You think it's a paper, just words on a page, but it's a system to break out the cage. Get higher fast, it's more than your past. You're the go-to pro, let the world know. Get higher fast, leave the doubt in the past. Worried they're looking at the years you wear, like time erased what you bring to the chair. But it's not about age, it's the way you play. Pushing yourself, lead the way, the way. Connect to the ones who make the calls, shake the fear, break the walls. Get higher fast, it's more than your past. You're the go-to pro, let the world know. Get higher fast, leave the doubt in the past. Worried they're looking at the years you wear, like time erased what you bring to the chair. But it's not about age, it's the way you play. Pushing yourself, lead the way, the way. Connect to the ones who make the calls, shake the fear, break the walls. Get higher fast, it's more than your past. You're the go-to pro, let the world know. Get higher fast, leave the doubt in the past. Get higher fast, it's more than your past. You're the go-to pro, let the world know. Get higher fast.
You scroll through hundreds of job descriptions, but they all sound the same. You spend so much time on every application, but it doesn't seem to matter. You send off application after application, but never hear back. You thought the interview went so well, but it's a no. You jump through all the hoops. The news keeps saying how there are all these employers that are struggling to find people to hire. So why does finding a great job have to be so hard? It doesn't seem very logical or fair. It's not. The system is broken. It's not your fault. The process most people go through to get a job is awful. But here's the good news. The system isn't very smart. In fact, it's downright dumb. It can be beaten. How? Most prospective employers and employees today are using the same old tired strategies that have been around forever. It's like professional camouflage. Everybody just blends into the crowd. But you don't have to be that way anymore. You can get traction. You can stand out from the crowd to unleash your God-given potential, to help a world in need, to do work that matters, to earn what you and your family deserve. You can do this. You're meant to do this. There are bright things on the horizon for you. This is the way. Welcome to the workshop. Get hired fast without settling, getting ignored, or losing hope so you can do work that matters and earn what you and your family deserve. My name is Eric Woodard. I'm a high-performance career and leadership coach based out of Washington, D.C. And if you're here on this Tuesday in April, just want to acknowledge you for being here. I know there's probably a lot of things you could be doing right now. The weather's getting really nice outside, cherry blossoms, depending on where you are. And if you're here, it just really signifies to me that you're somebody who takes their career seriously. You're not wanting to mess around anymore. So let's get this job stuff handled. So if you would put in the chat where you're from and how long you've been on the job search, because I would like to know, because a lot of times being on a job search can feel a lot like pounding sand, right? If you've felt like that, you're not alone. Sometimes being on a job search can feel a lot like waiting on a glacier. I see you there, Andrew in Ohio, searching for a while. I see you there. Hi, Jordan in California, Joni in Seattle. It's been over a year for you. I see you there, Joni. Sometimes it can feel a lot like wandering in the desert. Hey there, Aiden in Seattle, just starting to look for you. Hi there, Todd, Washington State, 2 months for you. Hi there, Robert in Dallas. I see there, Patrick in Louisville. And Louisville, Edward in Atlanta. I see you there. Sometimes it can feel a lot like going into an arena or looking into an abyss. So look, my friends, hey there, Divya in Virginia, right here in Virginia. So it's been over 40 days for you. So look, my friends, if you're somebody who's super casual about your career, kind of not willing to do much work, hey there, Charmaine in Jacksonville. If you're just interested in finding a job to make money, if you're sort of stuck in your ways and closed-minded about trying new things, hey there, Trell in the Lone Star State. If you're unwilling to be authentic, this may not be a workshop for you. On the other hand, if you're somebody who's unsure about the direction you want your career to go, struggling to find ways to describe what you do, hey there, Shushma in North Carolina. If you're uncertain if your resume is any good, if you've been wrestling with how to follow up after you apply, if you're tired of applying and hearing nothing back, hey there, Olga in the Windy City. If you've been doing interviews that seem to go great and you still get a big fat no, if you're trapped in a job that you don't like and you're not sure how you can escape, and most of all, if you're losing hope, you are in the right place. So what's on tap for today? Guys, some of you know who I am. You've had friends or family who have worked with us and gotten hired real damn fast. You're like, you got to attend this workshop. And if that's you, great. And some of you got a kind of a weird message on LinkedIn. You're like, who the hell is this guy? You're not even really sure how you got here. I'm just going to really briefly tell you about where I'm coming from. Then I'm going to give you 4 strategies and 9 tactics that you can put to work in your job search right now to elevate your job search. We're going to have time for Q&A. And something else that I always do on these calls, it's part of my practice. I got a whole bunch of coaches that like to help people in need. I offer free coaching calls, complimentary coaching calls. If that's something that you'd like to do, you're going to have the opportunity to sign up for that. Guys, it's not a sales call, right? It's some people do the call and they decide to work with us, and that's great. And a lot of people don't, and that's okay too. Only 3 requirements for doing the call. If you're somebody who's going to like sign up and not show up for the call, please don't do that. My team's not that big. If you want to keep doing what you've been doing on your own, if you're going to book and cancel, if you're at least not open to the idea of investing yourself and you're not ready to get high right now, like don't book this call. This call is not for you. Leave spaces for people who are ready to like get help with their job search. They're going to show up for the time that they schedule. They're open to investing themselves and they're ready to get hired now. So if that's you, you can book a call. We've got Jessa and Chris helping us today, and they just dropped the link in the chat. That's how you book a call right there. And yeah, complimentary coaching call for you. Nothing else will get your job search sorted and see what's going on. All right, guys, really quick, just going to say a little bit about myself here. Who's this guy? I grew up overseas. I grew up in the Far East, didn't come to the States till I was 18. Wound up transferring college 7 times. Here I am in the Midwest wondering why it's so damn cold. Wound up as a scuba instructor on the island of Guam, right? That was pretty cool. I spent about 10,000 hours underwater with the fish. And after I'd done that, I thought, well, I got to get my career together. Like I got to pull it together. So I thought, what would be the most prestigious job I could have? And I thought, well, that must be something like the White House. So I took out a piece of paper and I wrote a letter to the President of the United States. And I said, dear Mr. President, you should hire me. Now, look, folks, you got to understand this is the worst cover letter ever written. It was pretty terrible. But I mailed that off and I thought, well, I'm never going to hear back about that. And I didn't for about a month until I was going past the Guam post office and the guy came out and he's like, Eric, you got a letter from the White House. And it was on this cool White House stationery. And I'd never gotten a letter from the White House before, but I opened it up and it was an internship application. Now, I didn't know what the hell an internship was, but I was really good at filling out applications because I transferred college so many times. So I filled that out, sent it in, and I'm like, I'm never hearing back on that one. But at least I had the cool envelope. I thought that was pretty cool. And that got me thinking. I applied to some grad schools. I got into GWU here in Washington, D.C., sort of landed with this big bushy island haircut, was dumpster diving for furniture, right? Bought a pair of running shoes, was out running past the front of the White House one day, and I thought, those White House bastards, they never even bothered to let me know about that internship thing. What is up with that? So I found a payphone, I put in a quarter, and I said, hey, you bastards, what about that internship thing? They're like, is this Eric from Guam? I'm like, yeah, but I'm in DC now. They're like, man, you're supposed to start in the first lady of the office on Monday. So I thought, well, that's pretty interesting. So I got a haircut, I bought a suit, and I showed up. Now, look, folks, this is going to tell you how old I am, and I know my politics match yours. Please forgive me if they don't. This was back during the Clinton administration. I went to work for Hillary Rodham Clinton. She was a great boss, right? Wound up getting hired on her staff, right, for most of the Clinton administration. Followed her to the U.S. Senate, where we did stuff for the great state of New York. Followed her to the U.S. State Department, where I did stuff at UNESCO, and eventually left Hillary Land and became director of fellowships and internships at the Smithsonian Institution. And all during this time, dealing with people at all different levels of their career, early professionals, mid-career professionals, senior executives, all different disciplines, right? All different industries. I would run into this same issue where people were trying to figure out this job hunting stuff that isn't very linear or logical or fair. Right. So now I have my own coaching practice. I give a lot of talks. I do a lot of coaching. I've read a bunch of books. I have an outrageous number of very impressive pieces of paper, glowing testimonials, and you don't care about any of that. Because what you care about is, can I help you? I don't know, probably, maybe. Helped about 10 bazillion people get hired fast. Let's see what we can get handled for you today on this call. So 4 strategies that you can use to get hired fast right now. And guys, the way we're going to do this, we're going to go pretty quick. If you have questions, put it into the chat. I like to give things away. So if I ask you questions, be prepared to answer, because like if you get the right answer and you're first, I'll give you free stuff. So that's how this will roll. And if we don't get to your question, well, we should have a little bit of time at the end. And I know Jessa and Chris are helping us out here. I'm so excited to go through this with you. All right, guys. Yeah, Andrew, we'll send around the replay. So yeah, you'll get the slides. But you want to be here live so you can get the free stuff. All right, here you go, guys. Here's my first question. What's a good resume about? Put it in the chat if you would, please. Let's see if anybody gets this right. What's a good resume about? A lot of times people don't get this right. Let's see if any of you do. What's a good resume about? Put it in the chat if you would. Let's see if anybody, and there's usually a little bit of a delay here. So I know you're thinking. Let's see if anybody gets this right. What's a good resume about? Right. Okay. So Jordan says how you can help the employer. Right. Charles says it's me. Okay. Todd says it's me. Okay. Showing who you are, says Shushma. Nope. About your experience directly related to the position. Charmaine says one's work history. Nope. Nobody's got the right. It was about my career history. Jordan says, nope. Nobody's got the right answer yet. I'll give you guys just a few more seconds. Explaining your experience to the employer. Nope. Wrong answer. Raphael catches the interest of some employers. It's not the worst answer, Raphael. But here's what a lot of you are saying, right? A lot of you are saying a good resume is about you. A good resume is about you, right? Andrew's saying it's most recent experience that adds value to the employer, show why they need you. I mean, Olga, it's not a bad answer. But guys, it's not about you, right? And I think it was Jordan earlier who said it's how I can help the employer. Nah, it's just about the employer. It's just about them, right? What is it, says Jordan? That's right. It's them. Right? You want to be influential with another person, right? Yeah, Divya says it's about myself. Nah, it's not about you, Divya. It's about them, right? You want to be influential with another person or organization. The first thing you're going to want to talk about is them. And this brings us to strategy number 1. It's not about you. It's about them. Guys, if you get nothing else from this workshop, hey, Jordan S. is not messing around. Jordan just booked a coaching call. Nice job, Jordan. We look forward to talking to you, right? It's about them. True. That's right, Olga, right? It's about them. So many job seekers are like, me. Let me tell you about my skills and my experience and how awesome I would be. And yet the employer is not thinking about you. The employer is thinking about them. So you might as well talk about them, right? Employers are focused on themselves. Guys, if you get nothing else from this workshop today, please get this. It will change your job search. Okay, make the application about them. And guys, it's no wonder that we think the application's about us, because very likely the first job we ever applied to was when we were in school. And in school, it is about us. It's our cubby. It's our worksheet. It's our desk. It's our transcript. It's our diploma. And yet when we move to the working world, it's about the constituent, the client, the customer. It's not about us. It's about them. So this is the shift you're going to want to make in your job search to get different results than the results you've been getting. You already learned a new thing, says Penhas. Good resumes about them. That's right, Penhas. Good job. All right, guys, I got another one for you. If I went to a library and I saw a shelf full of storybooks, okay, and I looked on the front cover of those storybooks, there'd be some words. What do we call those words in English? What do we call those words on the front cover of a storybook? What do we call those words? Let's see if anybody can get this right. What do we call those words on the front cover of a storybook? What do you think? So Joni Kirschman. That's right, Joni. You're right. It's titles. Now, isn't it interesting that that's the same term we use to label people in the workplace? So, Joni, you got the first answer. So, Joni, we're going to send you this free course, How to Make Your LinkedIn Profile Awesome. Joni, all you're going to want to do is email us at hello@woodardweb.com and say, I got the right answer. You're going to send me a free course, and we will email you a link to get this free course. Great job, Joni. And I see you, Edward and Raphael and Charles and Jordan, right? And Joni, that's right. You won, Joni, right? A lot of you are saying it's titles, and you're right, which brings us to the idea of stories. Let me ask you a question. Here's another question for you. You're so welcome, Joni. What percent of human decision-making is emotional and what percent is logical? Put it in the chat if you would, please. Let's see if anybody gets this right. Right? What percent? Is it 50-50, 60-40, 40-60? What percent of human decision-making is emotional and what percent is logical? Okay, let's see if anybody gets this right. All right, so Andrew says it's 90% emotional. Okay, let's see if anybody else, we got any takers on this. What percent's emotional and what percent's logical? So Siobhan says 80-20, Jordan says 80-20, Patrick says 80. Nope. Charles says 90-10. I have not seen the right answer yet. Divya says 80-20. Nope. I have not seen the right answer. Okay, what percent of human decision makes it all? Guys, so here's the correct answer. Raphael says it's 50-50. Olga says it's nope. I have not seen the right answer. Joni says it's 95-5. Guys, it's 100% emotional. Patrick Taffy. So Patrick, you got the right answer. We're going to send you this LinkedIn course, right? And Andrew, you were right behind him, right? But Patrick, you got the right answer. So Patrick, if you would email us at hello@woodardweb.com, we're going to send you a link to this course. It's 100% emotional. And the reason stories are so powerful is this is how we convey emotion. Guys, it's 100% emotional, right? When you guys got on this workshop today, you made very quick decisions about whether you like the music I was playing. Darn you, Patrick. Don't worry, Andrew. There's more coming, right? Like you made very quick decisions about whether you thought my face looked stupid, you liked my shirt, the sound of my voice, like very, very quickly. And now you're just basically collecting data to rationalize the emotional decision that you already made. And Melinda D just booked a coaching call. Good job, Melinda, right? I know we don't have so many spots this week. We have a few beginning of next week. So don't mess around, guys. If you're wanting to book a coaching call, and again, you're not going to book and cancel. Don't do that. That blocks other people. Book a call, and let's give you some coaching. It's 100% emotional. And it's like what Maya Angelou said. She said, people will remember how you make them feel. And part of the reason stories are so important is stories are how we convey emotion. Right? There's nothing wrong with data, but these people walk around saying, we make data-driven decisions. No, they don't. No human does. None. It's all emotional. Human decision-making is 100% emotional. Later, the rational stuff comes in. And by the way, our ability to process emotion is like orders of magnitude greater, right? Well, we'll process logical data at like 20 to 40,000 bits a second. We'll process emotion at like 20 to 40 million bits a second, right? Our synapses are way more involved. All right. So if you're not using story in your stuff, you're really leaving a lot on the table. And when I say story, it's like your resume, your cover letter, your follow-up, your networking, the interview, even negotiating the offer, you're going to want to use story. So let me tell you a story about Maggie. Notice I'm about to tell a story, right? Maggie was applying to this program that I was in charge of, and all the applications pretty much looked the same, but Maggie wrote how the summer before she'd been in a terrible car accident and her arm had been severed. I was like, wow, that's quite a story. That's quite a story. So I was like, we took Maggie, right? We took Maggie and waiting for Maggie to show up the first day. Went, hey, Sarah A., you booked a coaching call. Nice job. Good job. Nice work on that. All right. Waiting for one-armed Maggie, thinking about what accommodations Maggie might need. The first day she walks in, 2 arms. Now it was bandaged from where it had been partially severed and reattached, and Maggie was doing physical therapy, right? Was I pissed off that Maggie had both arms? Of course not. I was so happy she had both arms. And I remember that's how I remember how I felt like to this day, because I was so happy she had both arms. Hey, Joni K, you just booked a coaching call. Nice job. Nice job, guys, grabbing these slots before they run out. Good job. All right. So stories, you're going to want to use stories. All right, guys, here's a question for you. What's this guy's name? All right, I'll give you a hint. He lives in Idaho, this character. What's this guy called? What do you figure this guy's name is? All right, anybody who knows the answer? Right, what's this guy called? Who's going to get it right? Okay, Joe. Okay, we got Aiden Lincoln. Aiden, so glad to see you on here, Aiden. I'm so glad to see you on here, Aiden. I know who you are. So, Aiden, you got it right. You're an honor to all Lincolns. This is Napoleon Dynamite. So, Aiden, we're going to send you, if you email us, Aiden, at hello@woodardweb.com, we're going to email you this course, Aiden. And glad to see you here. And a lot of you are getting it right. Joni and Charles, you're right. This is Napoleon Dynamite. Okay, now here's the deal with Napoleon. Napoleon's a high school kid. Right. He sort of beats to his own drum, right? Napoleon does. And he's like, he's a high school kid and he's on stage and he's in front of his entire student body. Now he's managed to get a cassette tape up to the sound booth, right? And they're starting to play music and Napoleon's on the hook to do a performance for which he has not prepared, right? So what does Napoleon do? Right. So he starts to do this wild, crazy dance. I mean, he metaphorically opens the kimono. I mean, this thing's crazy. And when he's done, he's sort of panting and sweaty. And all of his classmates are looking like this. And then they burst into applause. And the reason it works is because it's so authentic. Right. And this brings us to the idea of authenticity. Jamie Kern-Lima, the founder of It Cosmetics, says everybody's a good dancer if they commit fully. And she's right. Authenticity. Right. Let me ask you a question, guys. Who do humans hire? I'll tell you, it's humans. Now, I can hear some of you saying, but Eric, what about the ATS, right? What about the algorithms? I've been told that you have to have an ATS optimized resume. I even might have gone out and spent $100 to get my resume ATS optimized. Hey, Andrew C., good job booking a call. Nice job, right? Right? Well, how's that ATS stuff working for you? I already know. I'm sorry. It's not working very well, partly because there is no one universe. There is no one Sky Matrix, Skynet. Hey, Shushma, you booked a call. Nice job. We look forward to talking to you. There is no one singular system. It doesn't exist. And by the way, I don't know about you, but AI is getting pretty good. The idea that we're going to somehow game the system and trick it, nah, right? So in an increasingly automated and artificial world, the opportunity is not to try and outdo algorithms. The opportunity instead is to connect a live human. Be authentic, right? Nobody can be a better Shushma than Shushma. Nobody can be a better Aiden than Aiden. Nobody can be a better Andrew than Andrew. People are going to hire you because of who you are, not in spite of it. Be more human, not less. Do you see how this guidance is a little bit different than some of the other stuff you've heard that hasn't been working for you? Thank you for noticing. This stuff is different. This isn't the normal stuff. This actually contradicts a lot of what you hear about there, but you got to use all the, you got to make yourself perfect, right? Humans hire humans. You want to give them evidence that you're a human. So for example, notice I'm about to tell another story, by the way, right? So I was working with Nina and Nina's resume looked pretty good. And I was like, Nina, there's only one problem. She's like, what? Where's the evidence on here that you're a human? She's like, huh? I'm like, how do I know you're a human? And she didn't understand. I was like, Nina, what do you like to do for fun? Well, she's like, I have a pen collection. I'm like, well, that's super effing weird. We got to put that on there. She's like, oh, no, I could never do that. So I argue with her for about 30 minutes. And finally, I'm like, okay, good luck. So she writes me about a month later. She went into the interview. They talked about pens for 30 minutes, and then she got the job offer. I cannot tell you how often this happens for my clients. We had a client one time. She decided on her resume to put 2 truths and a lie. She got 2 interviews and 2 offers just from that. And the reason we know it is because they told her. They brought her in to find out what the lie was, right? Because people are generally bored, right? They've seen the same old all the time. You don't want your stuff to look different. You want to use your own uniqueness to your advantage, right? It's not a deficit. It's a strength. And Gilbert M's not messing around. Gilbert just booked a coaching call. We look forward to talking to you, Gilbert. Okay. Authenticity is your superpower. All right, let's talk about Abe Lincoln. He said, give me 6 hours to cut down a tree. I'll spend the first 4 sharpening the axe, which brings us to the idea of systems. The results you're currently getting in your job search are perfectly attuned to your current system. So if you want to get different results than the results you've been getting, you're going to want to use a different system. Now, some of you have a variety of systems. Some of you have a system called It's the Economy. Some of you have a system called I'm going to take off everything but the last 15 years of experience because some 20-something recruiter told me to do that. Some of you have a system called I'm going to hide my age by taking off my graduation dates. Some of you have a system called I'm going to put an executive summary at the top of my resume because that'll make me look fancy. Or, maybe I'll even put the title of the job I'm applying to because that'll somehow Jedi mind trick them. And no, it doesn't work. Right? None of those systems are very workable in my experience, right? Here's the system a lot of you have been using, right? And my heart goes to you because you're doing everything you possibly can. Like you got the sticky gear shift and the button. I mean, you used every combination of settings possible in your current job searching system. Here's what you're going to want to know. This is the system that's available. Now, you can spend a lot of time and money and energy going from this system to this system, or you could just get some help, right? You could, yeah, my kid had that toy too, Jordan, right? You could just get some help. Okay. That's the opportunity here, right? It just depends on like how long you want this to take. Okay. So guys, how do you put this all to work? So first of all, I want to, hey, Cynthia P, you booked a coaching call. Good job. Nice work. Okay. Like, how do you put this all? First of all, I just want to give you an example of how it does work. We've worked with, I think last year we worked with over 500 job seekers, and the vast majority of them got hired in 3 months or less. It worked this. And again, this is not the stuff that you're used to hearing. This stuff is different, right? It contradicts a lot of the stuff you've probably been doing and might be sort of really working hard to do that doesn't really work. I know, I understand. I'm so glad you're here. I want to show you a video from a woman called Angel. She joined this workshop very much like you. Hey, Olga Z, you booked a coaching call. Good job. Joined just like Olga did. She booked a call and decided that she didn't want to keep doing what she'd been doing, get the same results she'd been getting. She dove into our program, invested in herself. Here's the results she got. Let's show them, guys. In the time we've got left, I'm curious, especially if there's somebody we haven't heard from yet. They've had a win, a loss. Angel, I got to ask you, what do we know, if anything? What do we know?
I got the
Whoa!
job! Yay! The offer. I'm moving in a week. Yeah, it's crazy. And I know when we first met, you're like, oh, like, let's get something by your birthday. And my birthday is in 4 days. So I was able to do it. Yay!
And I just want to acknowledge you. Like, you dove in, you did it, you did the work.
Thank you.
Way to go.
It would not have been possible without like signing up for this program, truly. I think it made the difference for me.
So good, Angel.
Yeah.
Really happy for you. Super awesome. Congratulations to you. Yeah. All right, guys. All right. Yay. Way to go, Angel. Way to go. So look, a lot of you guys have already booked their coaching call. And Chris and Jessa, thanks for sharing this link. Again, if you're somebody who's going to like book a call and flake on us, or, you're just kind of kicking the tires and you're not really serious about getting help, like, guys, this is not a call for you. On the other hand, if you want to get some great coaching with your job search, if you're at least open to the idea of investing in yourself to getting some help, and you're ready to get hired and you're ready to get different results than the results you've been getting, like, book a call with us. A lot of you already have. I think we probably have a few slots left next week. And if you don't see a slot, email us and we'll get you sorted. Yeah, that's what it looks like to book a call. It's really easy. It's part of my coaching practice just to help people. And some of those people turn into clients and plenty of them don't. And that's totally fine. As long as you're somebody that's serious and you're gonna, you're ready to get stuff handled. All right, guys, here we go. 9 tactics that you can use to elevate your job search right now. Here we go. All right. So I got a metaphor for you. And this is where I like to talk real fast. So people who are watching me on replay and have me on 2 times speed, and now it's like 9 times speed. I like to do that. Thanks. Anyhow, thank you, live people. All right. So let's say there's a lake, and in the middle of the lake, somebody's drowning. Okay. In the middle of the lake, somebody's drowning. Now they're surrounded by other people in little boats. So somebody's in the middle of the lake drowning, and they're surrounded by other people in little boats. Metaphorically, if this was a job search, who's the person drowning? Put it in the chat. Let's see if anybody gets this right. Who's the person drowning in the middle of this lake? Let's see if anybody knows. Okay. So somebody's in the middle of the lake drowning. They're surrounded by other people in little boats. Who's the person drowning? Let's see if anybody can wrap their mind around this metaphor. So Andrew says it's me. I see you there, Andrew. Yeah. Okay. Who's the person drowning? Let's see if anybody gets this right. Okay. So Raphael says it's me. Okay. So Jody says it's the man. Okay. It's Edward. Okay. Yeah, Edward, you got the right answer. It's the employer. It's the employer, right? It's the employer that's drowning, right? And Joni, I think we already sent you the course, so you're covered. I think we did, Joni. Some because I hear you about the man, right? It's the employer. And the reason we know it's so Edward, if you would email us and we'll send you a link to that course because you got it right. It's the employer. And the reason we know it's the employer is they put out a job description saying, help, we're drowning in work. Right? We're drowning in work. And the people in the boats are actually you're in the boat. You're safe. Now the applicants, now some of those people are going to row up and they're going to be like, hey, you're drowning. I'm the best person to save you. And the employer's in the water and they're like, well, I'm going to get out of the water, but I'm not taking her hand because that's creepy. Right. Right. So this brings us to the idea of mindset. Right? Again, if you can wrap your mind around this, guys, it will change everything. A lot of people are just focused on me, which is a hot dumpster fire of a disaster. You don't want to do that. Others are focused on them, right? And not only that, but they have a mindset of service, right? This isn't about selling yourselves, guys. Nobody wants to be sold, right? People want to be served. And by the way, we've gone over this historically. Selling people's weird, buying people's weirder, right? Like, don't do that. That's creepy, right? You want to come from a place of service, right? And rather than row up to them and say, pick me, I'd be the best for you. You want to say, hey, you're drowning. That must be really scary. Let's have a conversation to see how we can get you out of the water. But what's important here is not that I'm the one that pulls you out of the water. What's important here is you don't drown and die. See the difference? All right, guys, I got another one for you. Danny A booked a coaching call. Good job, Danny A. Good job. So some of you know the show Deadliest Catch, right? These big steel cages, right? They put on the bottom of the ocean floor with a little bit of bait, trying to catch some crab, right? Trying to catch some crab. So sure enough, Bob the crab comes along. He's like, my name's Bob. I'm going to get something. So Bob goes in there, right? And you think that was Bob's voice because he's a crab, and you'd be wrong. That's just Bob's voice. Bob has a weird voice. He's a crab, but anyhow. So Bob's in there munching away, and Charlie joins, and Cheryl and Sally and all the crabs join. And eventually Bob's like, no more food, boys. I'm out of here. So Bob decides to leave. Now, here's the interesting part. When Bob decides to leave, the other crabs will pull Bob back in. They'll even pull off one of Bob's crab arms. They'll even do a crab murder on Bob. Crab manslaughter, or whatever it is, right? Because crabs like to be with other crabs. That's how crabs roll. Meanwhile, more and more crabs are joining, but nobody gets out, and they all get pulled up to become dinner. And this brings us to tactic number 2, which is environment. Right? Which is part of your system, right? This is the thing that a lot of job seekers don't even consider. And when I say your environment, I'm talking about your physical environment, your spiritual environment, your digital environment, your social environment, your family environment, your learning environment. This has to do with the idea of reference groups. You're the average weight, income, education of the 5 people you hang out with most. So if you're not hanging out with people who are, hey, Stacey A, you booked a coaching call. Good job. Good job, Stacey A, booking a coaching call. Right? If you're not hanging out with people who are lifting you up, right? You're getting dragged down. And sometimes, look, we have well-meaning family members that love us that are like, hey, hey, Patrick T, you didn't just book a call, you booked a coaching call, Patrick T. Good job on that. Nice work, Patrick T. We look forward to talking to you, right? So we have well-meaning family members who are like trying to help us because they don't want us to get hurt. So what are they doing? They're saying, just settle for $50,000 less than you were making before. And it comes from a place of love, and it's not necessarily helpful, right? So what we want to do is we want to create an environment, right, that supports us in a job search. Environment eats motivation for lunch every time. All right, guys, here we go. Tactic number 3, it's hard to hit a blurry target, right? Which brings us to the idea of vision. Some of you know the proverb that where there is no vision, the people perish. I'd say where there is no vision, the job seekers don't get hired, right? Sometimes I'll talk to people and I'll say, hey, Gomer, what do you want to do? It's like, well, I want to help people. I'm like, that's great, Gomer. How much money do you want to make? Well, anywhere between $50,000 and $150,000. I'm like, Gomer, that's great. And it's super vague, right? You want to have clarity. This has to do with the reticular activating system, right? Bruce Lee has this great quote. He says, Be careful what you tell yourself. Your body's listening. We'll literally be blind. Like if I say the color red right now, you're all instantly more aware of the color red just because I said it, right? We're blind to stuff unless we ask our brain to look for it, or subconsciously our brain knows to. So if you don't have clarity around what the world needs and how you might be able to help a world in need, it's like race car drivers, right? When race car drivers drive 500 miles in a circle, they intentionally don't look at the outer wall because the car will tend to go where they look. Right. And so if you don't have vision, you're just driving around in circles like one of those race car drivers, around and around and around, getting nowhere. Right. You don't want to do that in your job search. You're going to want to have vision. This is one of the things we help people do in the Get Hired Fast program. All right, guys, I got another question for you. If I went to the store and I bought this, right, what would I be buying? Put it in the chat if you would, please. Right. Put it in the chat. Right? What would I be buying if I went to the store and I bought this? What would I actually be buying? Let's see if anybody gets this right, because I want to give away another one of these courses. So Jordan says a drill. Okay. So Joni says a drill. Okay. Nope. That's not what I'm going for. What would I actually be buying? So Raphael says just a tool. Andrew says a tool without a battery. Charmaine says tools. Nope. Nobody's got the right answer yet. What am I actually buying when I buy this? Okay, because I probably don't need this just sitting around my garage. What am I actually buying? So Jordan says time savings. Nope. Okay, guys, here's what I'm actually buying. I'm actually buying a hole, right? I'm actually buying a hole. I see you there, Ty, but what I'm actually buying is a hole. Look, it says Ryobi. I'm buying a hole. And actually, I'm not even buying a hole because I don't need a bunch of holes in my walls. That doesn't sound great. What I'm actually want is a place to put the hook. And actually, I don't even want a place to put the hook. What I want is a place to hang the photo. And actually, I don't even want that. What I want is the feeling that I get when I look at the picture of my beautiful, smart family that's hanging on the hook, that's in the hole that's made by the drill. And this brings us to the idea of giving them safety. Hey, Charlie booked a coaching call. Good job, Charlie. Good job. Nice job. Good job, Jessa and Chris. Good job. Right? So like this brings us the idea of giving them safety. Okay. A lot of people are just focused on themselves, right? Other people are focused on them, but what they're focused on is the drill instead of the thing that keeps that employer up at night when they're lying in bed going to sleep. Guys, if you can get to this, do you see how this is so much more sophisticated than a lot of the stuff you might have been spending a lot of time doing? ATS, algorithms, hiding your age, executive summaries, limiting your experience, right? Being invisible. This is how you get hired fast. Right? Because if you can make people feel seen, heard, and understood, you don't have to worry about those 10,000 fake applicants that LinkedIn says have applied. Oh, Divya, we didn't acknowledge you. So sorry, Divya. It could just be that there's a little bit of a delay. So good job, Divya. We look forward to talking to you. Good job booking a coaching call. And thanks for advocating for yourself. You know, Divya, I'll tell you what, if you email us at hello@woodardweb.com, we're going to send you this LinkedIn course because I'm a fan of people that advocate for themselves. Good job, Divya. Good job. And hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly. So like you're going to want to focus on how you can connect. How can you can make that employer feel seen, heard, and understood. This is so much more sophisticated than a lot of the stuff that you may have been doing that hasn't been working. I could be wrong, and I don't think I am. All right, guys, here we go. Tactic number 5. Here we go. Let's talk about resumes. Now, look, folks, resumes, paper, it's sort of the least good way we've come up with to do this stuff so far, and it matters. Realize that resumes are just a communication piece, and it matters what you send, when you send, where you send it, how you send it, to whom. It all matters. And what you're going to want to do is communicate with potential employers in a way they cannot ignore. We already talked about how a good resume, we're going to want to make it about them. And we're going to want to communicate cover letters, follow-up, networking in a way that makes it about them. This is how my clients get hired real damn fast, usually 3 months or less, right? This is how we do it, right? Notice my resume. Like I've got hyperlinks. Do you have hyperlinks in yours? If not, why not? Right? I've got logos. Where are your logos? Right? Notice at the bottom, I think I've got 2 truths and a lie or 3 things I'm most scared of. Make your resume uniquely yours, right? To do otherwise is professional camouflage. All right, guys, I got a question for you. If a job application is submitted and there is no follow-up, does it even make a sound? I would humbly suggest it doesn't. And this brings us to tactic number 6, which is follow-up, right? A lot of people apply to a job and they're like, well, Hope I hear back on that one. And for some reason, they get that weird accent. Like nobody knows why. Science doesn't know. Anyway, right? But they apply, right? Or they apply and they're like, I know what I'll do. I'll follow up with the recruiter, because recruiters aren't professionally trained ninjas to keep me away from the hiring manager. No, you don't want to do any of that, right? What you want to do instead is follow up from a place of service with the hiring manager. And I'll give you a wild guess about what you want the follow-up to be about. It's not going to be about you. It's going to be about them. You're going to follow up in a way that makes them feel seen, heard, and understood. My friends, you do this. Hey, Joe Z, booked a coaching call. Nice job, Joe Z, right? You do this. This is how you get hired fast. This is how my clients do it all the time, right? Now, some of you are like, but Eric, you dodo brain, I would follow up, but would you believe it? They don't put the contact information of the right person in the job description. I understand. And I have a solution. I got a course. It's called How to Contact Anybody. I want to give it to you right now. Here's how you get the course. First of all, you're going to go to my LinkedIn page and you're going to follow me, right? You're going to follow me on this LinkedIn page, and then you're going to send me a message through LinkedIn, through InMail. And the message has a very secret word. Here's the secret message you're going to send me on InMail. It's the single word chicken. Okay, so you're going to go to my LinkedIn, right? You're going to go to my LinkedIn. You're going to follow me. You're going to message me through LinkedIn. You're going to send me the single word chicken. And when you send me that word, I'll send you this course, How to Contact Anybody, and you'll be all set. Right? And that way you'll never have to worry about how to contact anybody else ever again, right? Because people are going to believe what you show more than what you tell them. Okay. So you're going to, so you can put all in like that executive summary about how you take initiative and all that, or you could just show them. What do you think they're going to believe? What do you think is going to have more impact? I have a thought. All right, guys, I got another one for you. I think we're on tactic. What are we on now? Tactic number 7. Hey, Edward. Edward booked a coaching call. Good job, Edward. We look forward to talking to you. Right? So you ever seen the Academy Awards and some actor gets up there and she wins a big prize? And hey, Trell, good job, Trell. We look forward to talking to you. Nice job, right? So she wins a big prize and she's up there and everybody's looking around sort of, anxiously. And she's like, well, I got nobody to thank. Nah, it doesn't happen like that. She gets up there and she's like, I got to thank this person and this person and this person, right? And they're trying to drag her off stage. This brings us to the idea of networking. This probably than any other thing is how my clients get hired fast in the Get Hired Fast program, right? They get their mind around networking. Okay. And look, folks, you're not going to want to network, right? From a place of like one-offs because it's not scalable. Hey, Charles, we look forward to talking to you. Good job, by the way. Good job, guys. See you guys booking calls. And guys, if you don't see a slot or there's no slots left, just email us at hello@woodardweb.com and we'll get you sorted. But I think there's probably still a few slots left. Okay. So realize that asking for help is a gift. It doesn't make you look weak. It makes you look strong because like we wouldn't ask for somebody's help unless their help was genuinely worth asking for, right? So if you can get into the habit of letting your network know that you're open to having their help, this is a game changer, right? And you're going to want to have a system for doing this at scale, right? You're not going to want to throw single fishing lines into the ocean because that's like getting the right bait on the right fish at the right time, the right place. I mean, good Lord, that could take a while. What we want to do instead is filter the effing ocean because we don't know where the jobs are going to be. And if we're filtering the ocean, we don't have to because we're everywhere, right? We're everywhere. We don't want to curate and be like, well, there's only so many people in my industry that can help me. You don't know that, right? People have cousins and uncles and brothers and sisters and friends and colleagues that know people that you don't even know. That's how we get hired fast. That's how we get hired fast. Okay. Oh, I lost sound when I opened LinkedIn. Closed LinkedIn, but I still have no audio. Oh, sorry, Joni. Hopefully, well, Joni can't hear me, but guys, Veronica A booked a call. Veronica A booked a call. Good job. Guys, if we could message Joni and help her out, maybe she has to log back in or click the sound button. Jess and Chris, if you can help Joni. Hopefully we haven't lost Joni, but I know Joni booked a coaching call just like Veronica. So she's going to be all set, right? So you're going to want to have a system around this. Okay. Want to have a system. All right, guys, let's talk about interviews. Here we go. Here is the best interview advice in the world. I'm about to deliver the interview advice. Here it is. Thank you, Jessica and Chris. Don't answer their questions. My friends, don't answer the questions. If you're in an interview, and especially if you've gone into interviews and you've gotten like 16 rounds in, and then you think you're going to get the job and you get the big fat no, which happens to a lot of the clients that come our way, right? First of all, they're only really ever asking one question in an interview. And that question is, can I trust you? Right. If we lived in that, we had a universal truth translator, we'd be like, well, tell me about yourself. Can I trust you? Right. If we lived in that Ricky Gervais universe of the invention of lying, right. They'd be in you, well, hey, can I trust you? No, you can't trust me. All right. Well, we'll see you later. I'm going to tell you that I'm going to call you back and I'm not. Okay. That sounds great. I mean, wouldn't that be nice? But we don't live in that world. Right? They're really only asking, can I trust you? So rather than answer their questions, which isn't really their real question, you might as well give answers and tell stories that build trust. Now, look, guys, if you're in a technical interview and they ask you what 1 + 1 is, sure, say 2. And even in those interviews, and I know because I've had clients that are going into technical interviews, they're really still asking you technical questions to determine whether they can trust you. It's all about trust. That's it. That's the one reason they're going to hire you. And that's the only reason. It's not your skills. It's not your experience. It's not any of that. It's, can we trust this person? Right? So that's how you do interviews. And that's how you get hired fast, right? Is you build connection. It's not about looking good. It's not about selling yourself. It's about connection. All right, guys, final tactic. Here we go. Offers. All right. Hey, Larry T booked a coaching call. Larry T, I love this guy, man. You guys are like booking calls, and that just tells me there's a lot of people in this crowd that are willing to take action to get different results than the results they've been getting. My experience, those are the kind of people that get hired fast, right? The alternative is just to kind of sit around and be like, well, I'm going to take this information, but I'm not going to receive help. And my experience is that doesn't work very well. All right. And now look, folks, you guys who have booked calls, like you're going to show up because you can book a call, but the thing is showing up is really what makes the difference. So professionals, when they make commitments, they hold them. So, right, you guys are wanting people to hire you to be a professional. You're going to book a call, right? Or you're at least if you book a call, you're going to show up. All right, guys, offers. 2 important things, ideas here I want to share with you. 1, when you go through job boards, you don't have to worry if you're qualified for a job. They'll have an opinion. And 2, you don't have to worry if you want the job unless and until it's been offered, because unless and until that happens, you're really just kind of negotiating with yourself. Right? So the opportunity instead is to apply from a place of service. When you look through job boards, instead of asking, am I qualified or do I want the job? Instead ask, what's possible here? Maybe not even for me, for them, right? You do that, you will stand out from every other job seeker in the world, except for the ones that are in my program, because they're already doing this and they're getting interviews and offers because of it, right? That's the opportunity here. All right, guys, you guys have been a great crowd. I want you to write this down. 4 strategies, 9 tactics that you can use to get hired fast. This is how you do it. This is how you do it. Now, my friends, look, if this stuff sounds different from stuff you've heard before, thank you for noticing, right? Thank you for noticing. And if you are interested in figuring out how you can leverage some of these strategies and tactics towards your job search, book a call. Again, if you're somebody who's going to book a call and cancel, or you're just kind of not serious and you're just like, you like the idea of like booking time on somebody else's schedule and then like not showing up, please don't book a call. And good luck with your job search, because employers probably aren't going to want to hire people like that. On the other hand, if you're somebody who's going to like, follow through and you're ready to get hired and you're at least open to the idea of getting some help and investing in yourself, book a call, as many of you already have. The answers to the challenges you face are going to be resolved through action, not thinking about it. So if that's you, book a call. We look forward to seeing you. And again, if nothing else, you'll get massive insight. We can walk you through your job search. All right. Again, I've got a program. It looks like maybe we don't have that many slots left. So guys, there's the email to email us if you don't see it. I've got a program. It's awesome. It works. It's not kind of stuff you can Google. I don't want to give you a lot of stuff, but again, we got lots of testimonials, right? I could talk to you about just anyhow, but I'm not in the mood to do that. I want to take questions. If you're interested in finding out about our program, you'll book a call. All right, guys. So let's show the full girth of my gigantic head here. And let's take some questions. I saw there were at least a few, and you guys have been a great crowd, so acknowledge you for sticking around. What are some questions? I think there might be only 1 or 2. Okay, Jordan. And guys, if you're wanting to ask a question, you haven't, this is a great time to do it. How do you transition to the pen conversation in an interview? Just tell me about yourself question. So you could, but Jordan, if this was already on your resume, there's a good chance this will be the first question they ask you. Right. One time, I remember we were looking at resumes and we had a guy on there. He talked about how he did, what is it? Is it LARPing? right? It's like when people go into the parks on the weekend and they have Nerf sword fights, and it's like, it's like a battle royale with like armor, and like, this is what this guy did. It's like a little Renaissance festival, and he was really into it. And we were like, well, we got to talk to this guy. He came in and he was awesome. Now, would we have brought him in if he hadn't shared that, he liked dressing up on the weekends and fighting? I don't know. But at least we had evidence he was human. At least we had evidence that he was interesting. So interesting, in fact, that we had to meet this guy and he got hired because of it. That only happens all the time. So that's how you do it. That's how you do it. All right. Hey, Jack A. booked a coaching call. Good job, Jack. We look forward to talking to you. Nice work. Okay. Any other questions? Jessa and Chris, you guys are doing a fantastic job. Okay. Divya, I approached a few folks from LinkedIn and did not hear back from them. Is it a best practice to reach out to people who work at the company where we found the openings? So here's my question for you, Divya, is when you reached out, I'm curious about what you said. I'm guessing you probably did a lot of talking about Divya. You probably, if we were to count the number of I's in that message, there were probably at least 2 or 3 I, me. And so it probably wasn't about them. It was probably a lot about you, which is totally normal and totally fine and really doesn't work very well. On the other hand, if you reach out to people and you make them feel seen, heard, and understood, you give them acknowledgement, you give them value, that tends to be how people reply. And not only that, but some people aren't on LinkedIn, so find their email address, and you can do that by getting the course, How to Contact Anybody. We talked about that earlier. Jessica P. booked a coaching call. Jessica, you're a genius. We look forward to talking to you. All right, what other questions do we have here, if any? We might not have too many more. But guys, if you've been struggling with your job search and you're looking to get different results than the results you've been getting, ask your question here, or come bring your question to a coaching call and we can just get this sorted. Chris and Jessa, thank you for being so awesome. Guys, we're going to play a couple of, 3 or 4. Nothing is free. What's the cost? Andrew, believe it or not, this coaching call is free. There are no strings attached. Right. And like I explained, the reason I do these calls is because some people do pay us real American dollars eventually and become clients, and a lot of people don't. But this coaching call is free. So yeah, it is free. And I mean that. So Trell had a question. Trell, did we not get to your question? What about after coaching call? Andrew, it depends on whether, first of all, whether we think we can help you. We might not be able to help you, in which case it's going to cost you nothing because we're not going to offer to work with you. And if we think we can help you, it depends what that looks like. What I will say, just for sanity's sake, is we have a lot of payment plans. A lot of times people pay us like $300 a month until they get the job, and then they pay off a remaining balance. If your credit's halfway decent, you can get financing. But first things first, we want to see if we can help you. Trell, what was your question? If we missed your question, Trell, I want to make sure. I bet Trell's furiously typing. But again, guys, if you, we'll give Trell just a second. You're so welcome, Andrew. Okay, let's see here. Oh, there's Trell's question. Okay, we got you, Trell. Good job, Justin and Chris. How should we approach jobs that require an assessment or case study in reference to project delivery manager? Well, that's kind of easy, right? So, Trell, they're sort of handing it to you. So if it's a assessment or case study, we're going to want to put it in reference to them. So we're going to say, hey, you guys care about A, B, and C. Here's a case study on that, right? Or if they have an assessment and we know they care about A, B, and C, we're going to want to talk about that in the assessment. Now, sometimes there's personality assessments, which, you just do your best on those. But yeah, the focus here, Trell, is to make it about them. Make it about them. Guys, you've been a great audience. Again, we're going to play a few testimonials as we close here. And if you've been having a hard time in your job search, please know I'm cheering for you 100%. You can figure this out. And if you want to figure it out faster, come talk to us and let's see if we can help you out. All right, guys, really, really acknowledge you for being here. Jessa and Chris, I'm going to start playing some testimonials and you guys can take it away. Thank you so much for being here, folks. Really appreciate your time. Hope to see you soon.
My name is Charlotte Jones. I got a new position and I got hired pretty fast in the last month of being with Win at Work. So I have been searching for a job for a little over 7 months, and I've been at Win at Work for just a month, for about 40 days. So I do really like the one-on-one, the one-on-one time that I get with a coach or a career coach, counselor. And I also like that interaction and listening to the successes and the stories of how someone might be thinking about their job search or how they might want to present themselves during interview, what may work and what hasn't worked. And I'd like to hear those stories from others because I found that I was having some of the same experiences. And then really when it came down to getting an offer and being able to connect with Eric directly and really get that one-on-one coaching, that was truly helpful. I felt like that was a white glove service that was worth, getting involved with and connecting with when at work.
Hi, I am Marcia Gomes. I am, I guess you could say, a recent graduate of Get Hired Fast, because I did get hired and pretty fast. I am currently in my second week at my new position after having gone through the Get Hired Fast When at Work programming and methodology. And I don't think it's exaggeration and hyperbole to say that this program absolutely was the kicker in getting me to where I am right now. So very thankful, very learned a lot, and a lot of shifting in perspective. And I think that was super instrumental in kind of changing the way I approached my job search and my job hunt, and eventually getting to where I am and landing this really cool position that I'm in now. Yeah.
Well, first, will you tell us your name?
Jeff Borker. I just want to thank all of you guys. I didn't know how fast this was going to work. And you guys have all been great. I mean, all the feedback that I've gotten from you and from Eric and from Diana and the group as a whole is very supportive, very, very uplifting. Everyone's willing to help out. And it's just been a great experience. It's something that I won't forget. It's something that I'm going to take a lot of these concepts into my work activity. The job that I'm going into really is a dream job for me. I was just like, this is something I have to do, because 2.5 years of doing the same thing, again, nothing was working. I was getting rejections, I was getting ghosted, but I would say put any predispositions away, go into it with an open mind, do the webinar, do the introductory call, and really just do it, because it works.
I'm a big Eric Woodard fan. Eric has an infectious energy that I just feel like I benefited so much in not only my career search, but in my life, just having a few one-on-ones with Eric, having weekly groups, being part of the Facebook group. I just can't say enough good things about him as a human being, as a career coach. The things I learned from his workshop that helped my cover letter, that helped my resume, I am eternally grateful. And if you are on the fence of signing up for one of Eric's workshops, I would absolutely recommend doing it. So that's my 2 cents.
I started job searching a month before I started the program. It took me between 6 months and a year since COVID to find contract jobs. So when I got the notification, the When at Work, Get Hired Fast, it was called Get Hired Fast email, I said, I just knew immediately this was the way to go to quicken the time. I immediately jumped on this because in the past, it had just taken so long to find work and find the right kind of work. I mean, I've had in my career a couple of really horrible contracts, and I knew my biggest problem in getting hired was first my resume. I felt comfortable about interviewing with companies. The interviews I was not worried about. It really was the resume. Doing that master resume from beginning to end with everything on it was incredibly freeing. I joined on 5/29 on 8/11. I had not only a job offer, but the job offer that I wanted. And that was incredible. When I got immersed in this whole program, there are so many great things here. Just learning all these new tools and tips. And it was the power hours. They were boosters. And I love the fact that they had a theme every week as you were, going through this process. And it was just so comforting to have that. And then the individual coaching sessions, those were great.
It's Bethany Meadows. I joined When at Work in June 30th. I'm currently working a position as a CRM project manager at a college in Miami, Florida. All the different components of the program, the network bomb, the power hours, the co-working sessions, the job coaching, put together a really good strategy and it helped me give me an approach to be able to do job search that was more holistic in terms of being able to not only think about applying for a job or whether or not I was qualified for it, but also to thinking about my attitude about the job search itself. And so that's something that really was important for me coming out of being unemployed for like over a year and being laid off from a job that I'd been at for about 9 years. So I had a long stretch of unemployment, did other job search programs before, some paid, some unpaid. And I found that with When at Work, there was just a large part of it was the mentality and just changing my thinking around how I approach a job search.
Oh gosh, this is going back in my memory. I would say I was probably searching for 2.5, 3 months before I came across When at Work. I saw Eric. I had probably sent 20 resumes and I had had 2 different sets of interviews and never got any further. All I kept hearing was it is very competitive. It's so much different. And I just thought, you know what? Why am I doing this on my own? I need to find an expert to help me. I was in the midst of looking when I came across one of Eric's ads. It was an invitation to join a webinar. And so I did. He was great at building up and telling you what you needed to do and draw you in. I will say right off the gate, it was a completely different approach to job searching. Applying for jobs just isn't a fun thing. And it's easy to get burnt out and it's easy to start thinking negatively and you just don't want to do it anymore. But you guys were always there, kept encouraging us to keep doing it. And so I did. So having that support to urge me to keep going was one. Number 2, the completely different format for the resume was amazing. It was like nothing that I had ever seen before. I have received a number of comments. I felt much more confident sending out that polished cover letter and that polished resume. How long does it typically take for someone in the When at Work program to get a job? And he gave percentages, and I don't remember what they were, but X amount in the first 6 weeks. And then I think it was a larger percentage in the first 3 months. And I'm like, okay, that's what I need to aim for is those first 3 months. And I wasn't too far. I may have been a week or two past that, but what he said was true. So that's exciting. And I feel like I got the best of everything I was looking for.